Hello and welcome to Sim.PC, where right now it's 16:30. Oh, that's 9. Yeah? I know you love it, mates. And today I've been taking a bit of a walk. I was up at 8 in the morning. Took a stroll, actually, it's more like it. I actually took a jog this morning, which is amazing, mind-boggling, mind-blowing, given that I usually wake up at around 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But as of now, I'm trying to change that direction. And I've actually been up at roughly 8 o'clock each and every day, even though I didn't have to. Which shows some character, which makes some structure. Because when you know about it, as you know rather, when it comes down to it, that's what we're all about. We're all about that structure in the deep end, backbone, hard-coded. And since we didn't have an SNR, what? SNR, did I mention it? Did I mention it? Why did I mention an SNR today? Maybe because it's time for
YouTube's favorite show, the internet's favorite show, everybody.
It's time for the Saturday News Recap.
Recap.
I know, everybody's getting excited because this is the place on the interwebs, in the all-expanding world, where you get your business news of the week. And I know that you're super excited because as of this week rather, we have a double episode. Why? Well, because last Saturday we did the Easter special thing, yeah, and it just happened to coincide on a Saturday. Had a bit of an idea of taking up news during that video, but we didn't. So today we're going to go over the one most important business news over the last 2 weeks. And you might be wondering, why only pick one? Why not pick 15 different ones now that you have 2 weeks to work on? And that's because it was a rather interesting one, yeah? So without any further ado, let me present the international news before we go into some things that has happened concerning the channel over the last couple of weeks. As of when last we spoke. So, the one news piece that I'm interested in this week, and the one news piece that I'm highly excited about, is in relation to entrepreneurship and startups. Because we've had a video series, actually, a little project of mine, where we've been talking about the struggles of a startup, right? The challenges that a startup and a founder is facing when trying to make their own business, right? The founder's problem. Yeah, I'm gonna probably link that in the description down below if you want to go and check it out. Highly recommended, by the way. Selfless promotion, woohoo! Anyway, and in the UK, they have right now conducted a study on would people actually leave their jobs if they were supplied with a bit of a grant. I think that you can imagine it being a bit of grant, a bit of a cash right each and every month during a 6-month period to establish their own startup. So if I didn't really connect you to the idea as of there, the main idea is that people are saying, some government people, right, political parties are going in and saying, hey, do you as a person, yeah, do you as the average white collar worker, yeah, or blue collar worker, probably doesn't matter, right, no discrimination, but just random people out in the workflow, out in the workspace, would you like to take a 6-month break from your job, yeah, if it's paid, if it's guaranteed £500 a month, which which average probably approximately 5,000 crowns, 500 euros approximately, right? And if you're paid this amount each and every month of the months over the upcoming 6-month period, would you quit your job if you could go back and start your own startup? And I thought this was really interesting, right? Because we've been talking about the founder's problem, all of these struggles that you might face once you try to start your own business. Once you get the idea that it's not only having a great idea, it's actually putting in the effort, putting in the time. And when you're looking at this political movement, or this work movement actually, as of it is, they're actually pushing that idea that don't only have a good idea. You shouldn't only come up with the most brilliant idea ever, right? And you sit on that. No, that's not everything you have to do. You need to additionally, right, actually put in the time, put in the effort, actually put aside some time where you can work on your startup idea to actually make it work in the long run. And I thought this was such an amazing piece of news that it just brightened my day. right? And that's what news pieces are all about, in my opinion, right? Sure, there's supposed to be social critique as well, but I thought this was like, it stood out miles and miles apart, just because, well, we have talked about it. It's something that I'm personally very interested in, and it's kind of a neat social experiment to see if people are actually pursuing their ideas. And as of the article, as I understood it at least, most people didn't. A couple of people did. It was about I wouldn't say a 50-50 split, but it was like a 40-60, something like that. You can check it out in the BBC News article that I'm probably also going to link in the description below. Wow, I'm making the work for Future Me so much worse. But hey, that's Future Me's problem, right? Linking all and finding all the articles again. But yeah, well, when it gets down to it, this notion of actually pushing people in the direction of starting their own startup, I thought it was amazing, right? It's a nice initiative to actually not just saying that, oh, we want innovation in this country, we want entrepreneurship to be a kind of a big deal in this country, we want all of that, we want founders, we want startups, we want, these small to medium-sized enterprises to grow in our country. Why? Well, because they make up, 7.8% of the entire economy in the nation. At least it is like that in the Nordic countries, because we're looking at that in our thesis right now. And they also make up 70% of the pollution. So if there is a person who has this great idea for restricting the pollution, but it's also in connection with the startup that they need to actually grow this idea to put it on to new people, right? To actually persuade other people to get with this idea, then the government is going in and saying, well, we are boasting innovation, green thinking, and innovation and entrepreneurship overall. That is why we want you to start your own business. But would you do it, though? Which, again, was average. If people would actually jump on the chance or not. But I thought it was an amazing study yet again, and I probably can't stress that enough. And why I'm so happy about this particular news piece is, well, because that was the one that stood out yet again. If you wonder, well, if that one was so amazing, why haven't you picked other ones? Well, I can present to you another one. For instance, let me see if I can get this right. Airbus. Yeah, Airbus. Airbus have created their new air chip, kind of. It's more like a ship than an airplane, at least. This is the second piece of news, by the way. We're segueing, yeah? Nice, kind of unnatural, hefty, hard-cut segue without actually cutting. It's just me. Anyway. Airbus has actually produced a new airplane that I'm seeing, actually. That's what they do, so it's not that implausible, right? But they have produced an airplane that looks kind of like a whale. Let's see if we can get it up on the screen, because I've been working with some editorial things. So, ba-ba! Did we get it? Did we get it? Oh, we made it! Hopefully, right? Future Philip, now you do it, right? Otherwise, I will look like a fool. Again, and we don't like that. Take it away. But yeah, the futuristic looking whale plane, as most people are calling it. Why? Well, because it kind of looks like a whale. Have the amazing amount of the humongous potential to actually carry more goods overseas, let's say, with airplane. Which is, I guess that's good. I just can imagine that the first piece of news that we were talking about, entrepreneurship, innovation, lessen the impact on the environment. That's one way of looking at, new technology. And then you have aircrafts who are like, well, now we can produce more, fly more, which will make people want to fly their stuff more, which will make more air travel and air time. And I wouldn't take a stance on it, right? Because I'm not a professor or an expert within the area. But based on what I've heard, airplanes isn't the best means of transportation when it comes to lessen the environmental impact, right? So Airbus coming out and saying wow, we have this new amazing transportation technology. It's good that you've innovated and created this. The only question is, will you lessen the amount of flights that is required with this new aircraft? Is it actually producing less environmental damage? Or does it have less of an environmental impact than the regular planes? If the plane is bigger, then maybe you just need one instead of 3 airplanes when you fly back and forth. However, since they right now have 3 or 4 planes in the air, they probably just change those planes for the new bigger ones, and they will still have 3 to 4 planes in the air, but transporting more stuff. And when they do that, the amount of air travel that is seen, it seems more lucrative. It seems more like a better idea because you can actually transport more, which makes the average cost, the fixed cost over the course of all of the different units produced and actually shipped lower. Logistics problem and economic problem. But it's just such a thing that this might make airplanes look even better than they already are, and I don't know if that's a good environmental impact thing. Matters less, right? But that was kind of a cool thing. I like the structure, I like the design of the plane. But if you actually look into it, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Up for you to decide in the comment section below. But let's move into rather all of the things that you're here for, because of course it's funny to look at some different news, but you can access them news in your phone by yourself now, can't you? Because it's just BBC News, The Guardian, it's the it's New York Times, and so on and so forth. Maybe you have your own local news pieces that are saying like, oh, this is what's happening in the world. But what you can't find anywhere else on the interwebs, and that's here, when I've said it, is my opinions about what is happening in the channel, as of the latest week. So we've covered now the international pieces of news. Now it's time for the... It's not even national. Now it's time for the in-house news, the internal news. And the internal news is as of... I'm having the wrong note up. Wow, this is amazing. You know, structure and quality, it's at the top right now. Am I right, people? Yes. I did an unboxing video last week, I imagine. It was like 2 weeks ago. Same week as the Easter special thing went out and went live. And that's nicely segues into that I'm having a new phone. As of no surprise to most of you, it's the Samsung Galaxy S9, because that's kind of what I did the unboxing of, if you even can call it that. I thought it would be a funny video, right? But when I watched it, it was like, there's a bit of cringe in here now, isn't it? I mean, I thought that there were some parts that was very good in that video and had great potential. Unfortunately, some of the things just weren't good, and the amount of cringe that amounted to outweighed the funniness of the video. Now, if you think that that's even more funny, that's, well, 2 thumbs fresh, right? It's a good trade. But for me, it's like, it's overshadowing the things that I thought were funny. But that's just me looking at it, right? Critical creators, I'd say, even though I usually tend to be very biased, and happily so, towards my own production, which just might be unhealthy. New phone, yeah. The Easter special. I think I mentioned that we had that last Saturday instead of an SNR. That might be why this one is a bit lacking as well, even though it should be twice as great, right? With the amount of news pieces, but I just single in on one that I thought was the most interesting one in relation to all of the other ones, even though we're actually talking about airplanes here for a while, but kind of segue. I thought I was cool, saw it today. I thought I might be current. But yeah, we did an Easter special video, which I thought went rather well. And then I talked to some of my friends, and they said like, "Wow, that was horrible." You know, you were having a bit of an eating video, I assume, a bit of a food video, but you didn't touch the food until like 10 minutes in, and so I was like, "Didn't I? Really? Did I not?" I thought I was like shoving it into my mouth directly because I was super hungry when doing that video. But yeah, when I watched it back, I actually didn't eat all of the things that I've put up. I was just talking about them. So that's, you know, future criticism you can bring into the future. Something more that happened over the last couple of weeks. Well, yes, yesterday. I think that I mentioned this a little already. But yesterday I made a highly editorial video. And let me just rephrase that. A highly editorial video. A highly edited video, right? With very constricted quotation marks on highly edited. Because was it edited? Yes. Yes, it was. Was it highly edited? In my perspective, like in the context of who was making it, me, yes, it was. If you compare that to like anybody else on YouTube, was it highly edited when they said that it was going to be highly edited? No, it wasn't. You know, my technical expertise, I understand that. Wow, I'm not at the top of the league, right? But I went through some of the things that I went through when I put in my 8 hours, as I said that I was going to do, into the video creation and the video edit, actually opened up some new ideas. For instance, you can do different voices, or you can do different voice manipulations quite easily, actually, in iMovie. You can also zoom in like this. Yeah. With iMovie, which I didn't know you could before. And I know that I was talking about Adobe Premiere and I actually put it into Adobe Premiere. I think I spent like 3 hours in Adobe Premiere before I realized that, nah, this ain't gonna work. And I moved back to iMovie. Again, this is like the second time that has happened. But you know, third time's the charm. So in the future, yeah, we're probably gonna work with it at some point. We probably are, or we most likely are going to make the transition into Adobe Premiere. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of how can I manage it, right? Because as of right now, I couldn't. I really couldn't, so I moved it back into iMovie. But yeah, some things that, you know, the voice pitch thing, the zoom in and out. What more did I learn? Well, I learned that you can change the filter, kind of. You can change stuff in the Photoshop structure that I have around here to add some pictures, which I thought was amazing, hilarious, right, and really funny. But there are things that we're going to utilize moving into the future, you know, probably, most likely. So as I said, there were kind of building blocks for the future, even though the yet again highly edited video didn't end up that highly edited. It was still a building block for me to move it forward in the future. So I thought it was kind of interesting. It was really good, actually. But yeah, that was everything for the SNR as of this week. I know it's kind of limited with the amount of news. Wow, can we just retake that? But now, I know that I was kind of limited in the amount of news in the international news, but I promise you that we're going to make up for that, because next week I have a feeling, right, based on what I read, some things that are going to come to fruition, so to say, or I speculate that they will in the future. Some cryptocurrency, what did you say? No, but some things that I think will come to fruition later on in the next week, which will make them, you know, a bit more relevant to actually talk about, because right now there are lots of rumors flying around, and I'm like, they're actually going to talk about that and publicize that, and people are like, yes, they're actually gonna do that. And I was like, wow, it sounds like it's going to be an interesting SNR as of next week then. But